Good morning, Marta. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I am great. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. You'll notice we've got a different intro music today. I thought we needed some more chilled music with all the chaos that's happening around us. So yeah, hopefully that's a bit nicer for people. How has your last 24 hours been? Have you seen much? What have you been seeing online?
It's been busy. As you said, there is a lot going on. And I think yesterday there were a few very important highlights that I would like to bring up, as I'm sure we are all aware. Firstly, the first major deal was signed yesterday on ending and reversing the deforestation, which was also signed by Brazil, which is incredibly exciting after what's been happening in the Amazon rainforest. So there are a lot of hopes attached to that. And what is even more exciting, the countries that actually signed that pledge cover around 85% of the world's forests. So it has the potential to be an incredibly impactful pledge. Apart from that, maybe a little bit closer to home, there is the focus on clean technology, where countries will aim to make them more affordable and also to speed up the uptake of the technologies. And as we know, the transition to cleaner energy is vital on our way to, especially to driving down carbon emissions. So that's incredibly exciting. And of course, we can see the increasing support for countries which are developing at the moment, such as South Africa. So that is a really good sign as well. And I am really looking forward to today, because today is when, as they say, the real work starts with negotiators speaking about what's actually going to be agreed, including, as we mentioned yesterday, our alumnus, Mr. Alok Sharma, who is the president of COP and who will have the incredibly important task of bringing everyone together, hopefully to an agreement and making Salford proud.
Absolutely, and certainly these commitments are really resonate with the university, and we're delighted to have guests today that are joining us whose work is very much in this area. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in both Jean and Anna. Great to see you both today. We were just talking about Brazil, Jean, and of course your research and heritage is over in Brazil. How are you seeing things at COP at the moment?
Thanks very much, and thanks for inviting me here, Andy and Martha. And Martha, thanks so much for your little summary to bring us up to speed with some of these things. Of course, trying to keep updated as much as I can, watching TV and everything, but one gets busy, right? But yeah, no, as Marta pointed out, I think the fact that Brazil signed this treaty of deforestation is great. I mean, we knew this was coming. It was not like completely news, but it was exciting to see that actually really being signed, and then now it's there. So yeah, it's a major sort of step towards the right direction, I think.
And certainly, Jean, your work has taken you all over the world. You must have seen firsthand some of the impacts of the key things that we're talking about during COP. What's your perspective on where we are? We heard the Prime Minister say we're 1 minute to midnight. And we heard David Attenborough talk, of course, very passionately about the possibility of recovery. What's your sense of that? I know you're very optimistic and very hopeful, but do you think we are moving quickly enough?
Yeah, no, I am optimistic, because in my field, if you're not optimistic, you already lost the battle, right? So you have to remain thinking that we can do something, that's our job. I disagree with the Prime Minister. I think, unfortunately, we passed midnight already, but I think we're not far off. And then there is a lot to be said about habitat restoration and then habitat recovery. And so I think Earth is quite resilient. That's one lesson that we learned from working in the forests and everything. Mm. And so, yeah, even though we passed midnight, I think we can not easily, but do something about it. And yeah, I mean, I've started working in the tropics quite a few years ago. I'm not going to say exactly because ages me, but I've seen the changes, and I've seen the changes especially over the last 10, 15 years, not only in Brazil, but in the Congo, and then in particular Indonesia, where I did some work. And it's quite scary how quickly these things can go, and then how quickly things change. Those habitats are very, very, special and fragile. And we need to sort of really revert these things. And I think that this COP26 is an amazing event, because even though we've been having these COPs every year, since 1995, the one in Paris, 2015, and now this one, they're major events. I mean, everyone is hearing about. Of course, here in England, we're bombarded with it because we're here. But it is also in other countries. I've been asking friends that live in different countries in Europe, in South America, and everyone is hearing about this. So it's creating a huge momentum. I think it is a turning point.
Thank you very much, John, for your perspective. It's very important to hear from people who have seen this firsthand. And yesterday, the leaders were talking about the people on the ground doing most of the work fighting climate change, and you are one of those people on the ground. So it's your perspective is crucial here. We have with us also Anna White, who studies wildlife conservation with zoology at the University of Salford. Anna, thank you very much for joining us. Could you tell us a little bit about what you're studying and how your interest in wildlife came about?
Well, I think I've always just felt this innate desire to need to be around nature. And I was very lucky to have grown up in woodland areas, so I was always immersed in nature. So for me, I felt like it was very much on my doorstep. And no matter where I moved around, I moved a lot when I was little, but I was able to see lots of different parts of the world, which meant that I saw different places, different habitats, different animals. And I think it just always fascinated me. And then obviously a few years ago with the climate change protests and everything else, I just thought, I need to do something, and I need to do something now. And the only way for me to really do that was to go back to study. And I thought Salford has just such a wonderful reputation, and also renowned colleagues as well, working in such amazing fields. And it doesn't matter whether it's in energy or engineering, or it's amazing really what Salford has actually brought together as teams, and the teachers that we have. In fact, Ian Jean is just about to teach me in a few weeks' time as well. So, I think that's I felt that sense of urgency, and I think that's very much reflected in a lot of the young activists and people who are turning up to COP at the moment. So, I think that's it's just really poignant. It needs to happen now. And, it can't really wait any longer. Like I said, it's past midnight now, as Jean said, and also the Prime Minister.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think...
Sorry, no, the youth side of it is so important. On Friday, we've got a number of Instagram lives with a number of our students, both undergraduate and postgraduate. So hopefully people can tune in for those. But the youth movement's really important, isn't it, Marta?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we see a lot of the sense of urgency growing in the last few years, and I think the youth movement is responsible for that to a very large degree. And we can see a lot of young people, not COP itself, but around Glasgow. They are there, they are protesting, they're sharing it on social media, and it's incredible to see that power. And just wanted to mention from my personal perspective, there is actually a delegation from Poland coming, made up of young people who are coming as the alternative delegation to our government, who, as they said, are not doing enough. So that shows the power of that young people can have. Anna, actually, I wanted to ask you as well, could you share with us what students can actually do at Salford to help wildlife? I know that you're part of the Wildlife Society, which we will be talking about more on Friday, but could you touch on that just now?
I mean, there are so many things you can get involved with in general at university, but in terms of wildlife, I mean, like yourself working on the sustainability team, we've got the hedgehog friendly campus teams. There's just so many things you can get involved with. You can learn to garden with the Peel Park Rangers. There's so many things. It's just about getting stuck in and finding things that maybe you haven't even done before. And I think that's actually one of the best things about being a student, is that you can just be open to everything and anything, and just embracing all those different things. I mean, it's fantastic that we actually have so much green space at the university. We've got Peel Park right next to us, and we've got some amazing and iconic buildings, even the new structures that are going up now, which are really exciting. I can't wait to actually be taught in them next year. But there's just these fantastic green spaces with trees everywhere, and there's trails that you can go and walk around. And I think there's a real sense of that connection between nature and also well-being for students on our campus. I feel personally that it's actually we're seeing exactly what it is that Salford is. They're not just talking about it, they're actually doing it. And we can see the wonderful living walls, which I love. I often go right up to them and have a little look at them and forage around in them, because I just think, they bring such a delightful range of colours and textures. And I think just having that, rather than, grey building and then grey sky, and often it's raining, you don't get that sense of connection to surroundings and green and earth. And I think that that's something that Salford has really done and had that push with the Ignition project, which is actually really fantastic. So there are lots of things going on campus. It's just, you have to, really want to get in there and get going. But I think a lot of the people who are actually on the wildlife foundations or on the degrees actually have a real sense of that connection and want to get going, want to do something. And I think that it's just compounded with COP26 as well. People are thinking about this every day. We're talking about it every day, and it's just there. And, we can find our ways to get involved with it, whether it's just engaging with the actual conference itself, or actually just finding other people to have conversations with. And that's the thing, it's starting conversations, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely is. And I think that those connections are so important. It's one of the things that's really come across in I saw a lot of the leaders' speeches yesterday in the sessions, and a lot of it talks about not just collaboration, but connecting with nature as a crucial part of understanding what we need to be doing. And John, I want to bring you in here, because I think one of the things we talked about over the last couple of days is how we rethink curriculum in education. And one of the things I wonder how you feel about this. It's controversial, I think, but whether we should teach, for example, at university, climate action, how we can sort of empower students to think about how they strategically contribute to activity around events like COP and the wider climate agenda. Do you think we should be doing that more on the curriculum?
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, this is I wouldn't say controversial one. I think it's a difficult one for a lot of us that been teaching for a while and then have some old ways stuck in. But on the other hand, as you know, we have a quite successful master's program in wildlife conservation. And we're on our fifth year now, and one of the things that I made sure when I helped design this course with Rob Young was that I really wanted it to be about global conservation, about things like this, like COP, and then bringing this to, because I felt like when I started teaching conservation, wildlife conservation in Salford, a few years back again, quite a few years back. Let's be honest, 10 years ago. I felt like students were great, very enthusiastic, but they knew very little about global conservation. And I felt like if we're in England, come on, and in Manchester, where the cause of it all started here, and the Industrial Revolution started in Manchester. So it's time that we sort of do something globally. So I started thinking about teaching about things like conventional biological diversity, which is super important. Talking about the UNFCCC, that's the thing we're dealing with in the COP. And so slowly I feel and I hope that I am already doing that, what you're saying. So in our masters, we have a module now, it's called Global Conservation Challenges. And really, actually, coincidentally, this week we're talking about climate change, and we're talking about things like the United Nations, the Sustainable Development Goals, and we talk about climate action and all these things. So definitely, I think this is something that us, involved in the conservation sciences, we need to sort of not be political. I don't think this is our role, take sides or anything, but using science, that's what we do, right? Show what the path should be, and then what the planet is doing. Our masters, for instance, sort of the vision of our master's program at the moment is the same as the a conventional biological diversity, which is living in harmony with nature. So this is what we want to achieve with our course, and then slowly I want to bring that to the undergraduate level, and I feel like we're actually getting there. And then one of the proofs of that is quite a few of our students have moved on from the masters to achieve careers or jobs, doing global things, which is fantastic. So I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic, Jean. Thank you very much. And it's great to know also that the knowledge that students take from this course is then reflected in real life and in real impactful action. And that's what universities are all about. I think the institutions have the responsibility to prepare the next leaders of the world. Could you tell us a little bit about what your hopes are for the next week and a half at COP when the negotiations actually take place? You said that you're hopeful, but is there anything in particular that you are expecting to see?
If I'm very honest, I am a positive person, and then obviously I believe in these things. But I as usual, for these things, I came with low expectations because normally when those old politicians get together, it's always like, yeah, let's just please everyone and get elected again. But what I'm hopeful is that the momentum that I didn't expect to build up until now, in particular with Biden, I was very surprised, positively surprised with Biden coming in and really sort of stealing the show in a positive way, and that's fantastic. So I'm hoping, I'm very hopeful that this momentum carries on, because I feel what Biden did, which I don't think anyone expected to that extent, was to inspire a lot of the European leaders and the big leaders to say, hang on a minute, yeah, we let's wake up here, and let's hope that carries on. It's great to see America back on the game again. We had those dark days, but sometimes you need those dark days to wake up people. We're still on the dark days in Brazil, but I can see already the light in the end. So sometimes, so I think what I expect to see is more of what's been happening in this in the first 2 days. No specific thing. I'm not going to say exactly, okay, I want to sign this or that or the other, but just that a momentum that is, that started in this first 2 days. Let's get going with that, and then follow up with that. Things like India, promising the net zero by 2070. This is amazing. I mean, I know 2070 sounds like a long time, but have you ever been to India? I mean, it's even incredible to think that they can actually manage that. And then we say 2070, 2050, all these big dates far away, but you know how technology moves fast. The importance is that people are wanting to do, are committed. And then with all the technology and then everything that's happening so fast, I'm pretty sure that all we need is this will to do it. And probably before that, we'll be achieving unexpectedly these goals. So.
Yeah, thank you very much. Jean, I think I've seen a lot of articles saying that India's target might be far in the future, but still it's the effort that we should be appreciating and helping them along the way. So hopefully we will see that happening. And Anna, would you like to share with us some of your reflections, some of the things that you're looking forward to the most as we're exploring different themes every day at COP for the next 9 days or so?
So I think some of the most interesting things, I've actually popped into some of the seminars, and one was about ocean and biodiversity in the ocean. And for me, that really struck a chord because I've lived by the ocean, and I enjoyed when I've been abroad just seeing, the biodiversity that is there and that's living there on reefs and things. So for me personally, especially with a lot of issues to do with water and contamination of water recently, it's been highlighted a lot in the news. I think it would be nice to see more challenges around that for ocean challenges, and for actually scientists to be able to present their kind of information that they have about all of these issues. I think that was one part of it. Like, I'm really advocating for the ocean, because I think everything starts there. It's almost like the lungs of our planet as well as the trees. So for me, it starts there. But what was really interesting was yesterday just watching President Duque of Colombia. And, he, in a similar way to Biden, setting the bar, says, I'm not going to wait until 2030 to have 30% of our protected forests. We're going to have it done next year. So I think the fact that he actually challenged people over the microphone in that room and said, we're a small country. We've got a lot less resources and everything else, and we can do it next year. So why wait? So I really like the challenges that countries are putting to each other and saying, look, we can do this together. But then also Ursula von der Leyen as well, saying yesterday about how, we connect. This is the time now for innovation, and we've got scientists and innovators and designers and just so many people that are involved in that can come together now and invest. And actually, as Jean was saying, technology goes so much faster now, and every day we're inventing something new, which is incredibly crazy. So it was really interesting that there's this push now. So now that they've had their chance to speak, now is the time to start negotiating where we can go with all this. So I'm actually quite excited to see what happens.
That's such a wonderful message, Anna, and really wonderful to hear those speeches yesterday as well. We are almost out of time, but I can't let Jean go without asking him one final question, which is, we've heard a lot of researchers talk at COP26 already. And what always interests me when speaking to people who work in this field is what got you into this? What motivated you to focus on this area? So just as a final, because I think it's really helpful for people to hear what leads people to motivate them to research an area. So what got you into this?
Oh, okay. Well, I actually started just studying primates because I do like monkeys and apes and, all the evolution part of it. But then in my early days, I started working in the Amazon rainforest where my monkeys, so to speak, were. And it's inevitable if you're working there and if you see the changes and the fast changes, and then you want that to stop, you want your monkeys to thrive, you want the indigenous people more importantly to actually thrive and carry on. And really, I lived with the Yanomami people on the far north of Brazil on the border of Venezuela. And I mean, their lifestyle and then the way they work with the forest is amazing. More people should know that that's possible, and that should, and I want to sort of spread the word kind of thing and show that that's how we should be doing. We should be stewards of the forest and not just cutting the forest and bring in an European system, which is cattle ranching into a tropical country. Why are we doing this? So that got me sort of in the field, I suppose. Really, it's tropical ecology. That's my, and conservation, which is my passion. So
that's a fantastic way in. Thank you so much. And Marta, what do we have left for the rest of the day? What's coming up?
So today, as the theme of COP is on climate finance, we've got a free seminar coming up at 12 o'clock on foreign investment and the cost of sustainable development goals. So if anyone's interested in that, you can see the links on our social media, and also all of the events, of course, you can see on our COP26 webpage.
Fantastic. Well, Jean and Anna, thank you so much for joining. It's been wonderful speaking to you both, and we look forward to talking to you again sometime in the future. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.